All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president in 2024, and it is Art's Party. So, went over some of this stuff. I wanted to add some things here. So, you got, college students need to pay tuition. Hey, or student loans, come work for a year doing this, learn a trade too. Also, you got kids who want to earn money for college, and the standard option is the military, which there's nothing wrong with that. But here's another option: come work for a year doing this. The other things about this is, and this is Rebuilding America, Urban Renewal, Part 2, 35, Part 2, or 36, Part 2. I'll have to look and see. But anyhow, so like the deal will be 10-year deal. Oh, and another thing, I put that on there just as an example. The aesthetics of what the homes will look like, or the towers, that'll have to, be worked out by the city with the architects and stuff like that. Like San Francisco or something. They got like those row houses and things like that. That'll have to be worked out. But it's a deal of a lifetime, 10-year plan. I'm not going to go through everything. You have to look at the previous one if you want a little more detail. But the point is, we throw money at stuff all the time and no real solutions. And like I said, the monetary system, it's like a closed system. It has to circulate. And if you look at the heart, like the valves being, the federal government and the military budget. Another one, what did I say the other ones were? Social programs, all that, whatever it is. Like the military budget, all right? We need a military, I understand a strong military, but how much do we pay for those F-35s a piece? And the money that goes into that, right? They print all this money, we get into debt, or they borrow money, which is actually our own money. They borrow it back from the Federal Reserve. But anyhow, that makes a lot of rich CEOs richer. It keeps the people in the defense business working, and which there's a lot of people, granted, for that. But all the investors, which a lot of them are the politicians who invest in anybody who gets government contract money. Them and their families invest. The average person don't have investments in that. They're not reaping the rewards for that. It's not going through the whole country, even though some state, senators will want this piece of equipment made in their state or parts of it. And if you look how the was it the B-1, they built parts in every single state, so each senator would pass the budget, sign off on it. It was the only way is if they got jobs in their state, which that's fine, but it's not enough. They print or borrow all that money. It's a pretty tight circle that it gets spread around to. So this here, like I already pointed out to, you would the things you would cut down on. And as far as people getting into them, you could even take like people with minor criminal offenses. Excuse me. Say, hey, you want to work some of your record off? Says sitting in jail and learn a trade and stuff. So, it wouldn't be developers. If you remember the housing thing, they said all these loans went out to people who couldn't afford houses and stuff. If you know how that is, they borrowed a whole bunch of money. They give out all these what they called, what was the term they used for those mortgages? Anyhow, when it all went kapooey because they mismanaged and did a bunch of crooked shit, which you can look at a thing called Inside Job, a documentary, explains a lot of that. They more or less blamed it on people who couldn't pay for their houses and stuff, and that was a bunch of crap. So this here, you're taking all those people the banks, the mortgage companies, the developers who are going to want to make a profit and all that. It's a federal and state program. The money goes to the state or, into the city. You hire all the contractors, and you're going to put to work electricians, plumbers, heating and cooling, carpenters, sheetrock people, masons, all kinds of people, and you're going to stipulate it's all American goods, everything, right down to the carpet and the appliances, everything in these homes or in these apartment towers or condo towers. So all the stuff is going to boost the economy around the whole country, buying goods and stuff. And then you're going to be employing Americans, and you're going to be employing some people who want to path to citizenship. You're going to it's an investment in the future of the country. All these people will be making money, then they're going to be spending money and all that. So part of the plan, the plan, the 10-year thing, this is like a one-time deal. If you make it all the way through the 10 years, you sell the house, you get 200, 300,000 out of it. You go to Vegas, do a bunch of cocaine and whores and gamble all your money away, and you're back at the bottom of the barrel. Don't come crying to us. You're in this house, you're in there, say you're in there for 5 years, you lose your job or you quit your job or something, and you're going to have to learn about, you're going to have like, homeowners insurance and this, and we'll see if that'll be included in the mortgage payment or something you have to go and get. I think it should be included in the payment, then they don't have to keep going back and check and make sure it's insured. But suppose you end up out there on the step drinking beer and smoking weed and not going to work and not paying your mortgage. Well, you're out of there. You are out of there and somebody else is in, and it's a one-time deal. You just blew the deal of your life. You have gang buddies, your MS-13 or something, or people, and then you come over and you decide to have a big party and you got all these gang members there at your house. Guess what? You're out of there. Out of there. Skinheads, don't matter. Anything's gang related, you're out of there. Drug trafficking going in and out, you're out of there. You're going to make a pledge. No gangs, no drugs, no crime, no guns. Keep your nose clean for 10 freaking years. And then also, you're going to be given, incentives to police, teachers, firemen, all those types of people. You don't have a whole lot of money in the budgets to keep, every year adding more. Got to negotiate all these contracts and stuff. You see if you can get this in there and stuff, and they'll live in it'll be a community, and so if you look at what Roosevelt did back in his day, all the big projects and stuff with work camps and this and that, he didn't just say, here, people, come take a bunch of money. They had to go to work. There was things that got done. So if you think of that and watch a movie called The Grapes of Wrath with Henry Fonda, and you can kind of see some of that in the movie, and or you can just go back and look at documentaries about it. There's plenty of them. Look at that thing called Inside Job documentary, and look at a thing. There's a documentary called Why We Fight. In the beginning of it, the whole thing is good, but the beginning of it is Eisenhower's farewell speech, where he talked about what he could spend money on in this country instead of all the weapons of war and stuff. And he's the one who coined the term military-industrial complex. Only when he first used it, it was military-industrial Congress complex, or complex in Congress. So you can look at all those things, and you can look at how money works and inflation and all that. And usually when they print a bunch or they borrow a bunch, we end up in more debt and there's inflation and stuff. It's because it's not spread out, It doesn't do nothing to lift the economy in the way this would and put people to work and give them hope for the future and an incentive. They would have a stake in the community of keeping it good and everything. And we can do a thing, every 6 months or a year, somebody from the state comes, not unannounced or anything like that. They call, hey, we're going to be coming by. We want to inspect the property. They check on it. They make sure, and then your neighbors, if, you're got car parts all over the front yard and this and that, anything that's going to make the property values go down, they're going to be able to call too and say it'll be like a homeowner's. They're going to be able to call too, because now they have a stake. Their property values, they have a stake in it. Come when that 10 years is up and they want to sell that house and the whole neighborhood has gone to shit, guess what? They ain't going to be able to. No one's going to want to move there. So it's a one-time deal. So you get your shot. You get your shot. All you got to do is keep your nose clean and maintain your property and work. That's it. And you're going to have all these contractors all over the country. They're going to be making money. And actually, though a lot of you don't like it, the guy who would be best to get this moving and stuff is in office right now, because he knows about building. And he knows all the contacts of people who would go and make sure the contractors aren't gouging the states and stuff like that. He'd be able to put some people in there, to really watch the oversight. But, whatever. I don't care who does it. The idea is there. And if nobody does it and you want to vote for me, write me in for 2024 and everything. If, like I said, God forbid, or God help us all, I was to get in there, this is definitely what we go to work on, because it would alleviate a lot of problems, put people on the right track, give everybody a stake in their future and in the future of the country, and cut down on our costs for prisons and policing and all the other costs to high crime, and rebuild our cities, and that alone, living in a better neighborhood alone can give somebody enough hope to where they're not turning to a life of crime. And like I said, we're going to give people make life easier and more advantageous to live a good life and join society, and we're going to make it a lot harder for criminals to do business. And so we're going to make doing good, taking care of your families, working, all that stuff way more attractive than a life of crime would be. We're going to make life of crime very unattractive. So I wanted to throw that in there. So this is part 2, and I think that covers it. What else did I put? Mike Maloney also. So I got Roosevelt, Eisenhower, Grapes of Wrath, Inside Job, Mike Maloney. You can look at some things about money he's got also. So I think this would cover a lot of stuff, and we'd have to iron out the details about, if you got divorced, because, most states, you get a divorce, you sell the property, and you split the equity. So I think it would be done that way. One of you dies, then the spouse takes over, or, whether you would be able to leave it to a child to take over, or, they would just get the equity you had in it and another family would move in. I don't know. All those types of things. States and cities would have some leeway, what they thought would be best, and you'd have all the experts chime in on all this and hammer out the details. But anyway, that's my idea. Arts Party 2024. Instead of just throwing money at all these social problems and public housing where no one really gives a damn because they don't own it, or they don't give a damn. They're living in a neighborhood that's already been run down and stuff, and if you let the drug gangs back in and all that, and it gets run down again, don't come crying. This a one-time deal. Spend $1 trillion or whatever it is on the country, instead of sending it all overseas and all into a military budget. Put people to work, give them homes, give them a chance to make something of themselves. And then if they blow it, then you go, oh well, step aside, we're going to let the next person in. So I think it's a lot better than the way we've been doing it. Paying people to sit on their asses and have kid after kid so they get more in subsistence and stuff like that. So what do you think? Leave a comment if you'd like. So I'll let you all get going now, and God bless, and we'll catch you on the next one. Adios.